After the first day I met him, it stuck to me just like glue, and I knew that there was something there.
Darren Kenneth O'Brien, aka Snow, born October 30th, 1969. Today's feature is a different kind of story where we'll speak about the touchy topic of cultural appropriation and how one man may have done it so well that he's considered a music legend to some that know him. Snow is a singer from the 90s who became famous for his first album. The album sold over 8 million copies worldwide, and the song has since went multiple times platinum across the world. Not to mention being added to the Guinness Book of World Records as the best-selling reggae single in US history and highest charting reggae song in history, beating Bob Marley and every other reggae legend to ever record music, and most importantly, were actually of Jamaican descent and culture. For those who don't know, cultural appropriation is a term used to describe when members of a majority adapt the culture of a minority group in a disrespectful, stereotypical, or exploitive way, and has been frowned upon in society and culture because it puts the minority at a disadvantage, not being able to fully own and claim their own culture from imitators, and most importantly, profit off of it en route to advancement in society, or in this case, music. There's no doubt that one of the biggest culprits of cultural appropriation, no matter how much he's liked or embraced by the culture he's adopted, or how successful he became, which in turn did bring light to the culture, is singer Snow. And not simply because he's a white Irish guy from Canada that made millions literally pretending to be Jamaican with his music, but because everything about his sound and music character was something he either heard, sampled, or imitated from Jamaican culture, down to being tutored on how to use Jamaican dialect and speak patois. He may be the first, but he's not the last or solely responsible for his appropriation, or even wrong for doing it, as from the beginning he's owned that he was a white Irish guy, but embraced by blacks and Jamaicans and promoted as an honorary of hip-hop and reggae by legends in the game that literally held his hand to success and allowed him to profit off the minority as long as there was a profit and something to gain in it for them. It brings up another issue of how the minority are so quick to sell out their culture for their own personal and individual gain, never quite thinking of how it hurts the future as a whole long term. Either way, Snow was accepted and ran with the Jamaican accent, hip-hop style, attitude, and culture all the way to record books and passing many Jamaican icons in sales, promotion, and historical relevance, all right beneath their noses and in plain sight. How'd Snow successfully appropriate and finesse Jamaican culture? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, StuntedGrowthMusic. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Snow is listed as a reggae artist, rapper, and singer from North York, Ontario, Canada, born to an Irish-Canadian father and mother. He's said to have grown up in the projects in Canada, where he gravitated toward hip-hop and reggae at a young age, inspired by the influx of Jamaican migrants that moved to the neighborhood in the early 80s. He fell in love with reggae and hip-hop in particular, and even began to attempt speaking with a Jamaican accent. He frequented Jamaican house parties where he'd grab the mic and sing along to artists like Coco T, Bob Marley, and other popular reggae artists at the time. Captivated by the sound, he decided to drop out of high school to pursue music. He moved to New York, where he met hip-hop legend MC Shan, who invited him to the studio and eventually helped him write his debut album with the daily help of Jamaican-born DJ Marvin Prince, who alleges that he taught Snow how to speak patois and deliver his music. He signed with Warner Music / East West Records in the late 80s and released the hit Informer in 1992, seeing the video for the first time while he was in jail, and his debut album 12 Inches of Snow in 1993. The success grew and his career was off to the races from there.
So instead of him wasting his talent, oh, come see the white boy, like, yo, man, you can get paid and just set yourself up doing this.
Appropriation success number 1, embraced by its own. The first thing that happens down the timeline of culture successfully being appropriated is being embraced by prominent figures in that culture. With anything great that's ever been stolen, great thieves understand that the best way to go about it is from the inside out, the inside job. Black culture, in my opinion, is one of the easiest cultures to steal from because as oppressed minorities, they become so flattered by anyone of the dominant society, one, paying attention to what they're doing, and two, actually wanting to be a part of it. Minorities have literally had entire countries stolen from them because of this reason. MC Shan and Marvin Prince, along with hip-hop and reggae culture, welcomed Snow in with open arms and even taught him the ways of properly imitating their culture while stamping him as valid to their people every step of the way. He would visit Jamaica and be accepted by Jamaican artists like Barrington Levy and Beanie Man as well. In exchange, Prince and Shan stood to profit greatly off the success of Snow, who, like most white musicians, had the complexion to be supported by more people, being a part of the dominant society. Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber, Madonna, Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus, Elvis, Snow, and so many more have become ultra successful in music, being a face that can be marketed on more platforms, with the culture of minorities given to them and aiding in their success as long as everybody profits. In life, anything is for sale, including culture, and in music, once you can get one of the biggest artists to stamp you and people behind the scenes teaching you the ways of the culture, it leads to success most times, and was a huge reason Snow was successful in his appropriation of black and reggae culture. Blacks and Caribbean islanders have historically been the most embracing of other cultures in the world, not to mention forgiving, so historically have always been susceptible to having everything stolen from them at some point in society, and especially in music. Hip-hop and reggae fully accepted the Irishmen into their culture through MC Shan and Marvin Prince. The latter later sued Snow for not receiving proper compensation for his oral agreements with Snow to be 50-50 partners. MC Shan, of course, benefited heavily financially off the embracing and promotion of Snow, receiving writing and producing credits on Snow's debut album. Snow would blow up from there and leave Shan and Prince behind. Appropriation success number 2, talented. One thing I would say, and you can't take away from Snow, is that he's no doubt a talented singer and songwriter, as well as performer, otherwise we wouldn't even be talking about him. In his own words, he spoke about being in fights at a young age, where he'd be singing melodies while fighting, which is how Marvin Prince discovered him and invited him to do music. Also, why Shan embraced him and saw the dollar signs surrounding him. I've always felt that a great characteristic of successful people in entertainment is having the ability to imitate. You take any successful entertainer, whether it be sports or music, and ask them to imitate another athlete or artist, and they'd almost do it flawlessly. You ask any painter or artist the same thing, and they tell you that one of their greatest skills is stealing inspiration from prior works of art, or anything they come across for that matter, and repurposing it to create magic for themselves from Basquiat on down.
And so you snatched a few words from it.
Yeah, I didn't snatch them,
They caught your...
They caught my eye, and I took them.
Snow had a grand task at hand. As a white Irishman, he not only had to study the culture, but also had to refine natural things about himself, like the way he spoke and sang to fit into what was popular at the time. Not to mention being able to be liked enough in environments where he was always the odd man involved in order to be pushed to the forefront. Of course, he had to his advantage the ability to carry tunes and mimic what reggae was supposed to sound like, and became quite successful at it. With his act down pat, he began to perform and give interviews in patois at times, and with his personality and complexion to be marketed, he blew up. His debut 12 Inches of Snow became an instant hit, peaking at 5 on the US charts and 3 in Canada, going triple platinum in Canada and platinum in the US. MC Shan was lead producer on the album, along with writing credit to Marvin Prince. He released 5 more albums over the next 10 years, including a #1 reggae album in 1995. Call him what you want, there's no doubt as a singer, personality, and imitator, he was extremely talented. Appropriation success number 3, being the first. One thing that made the 90s such a golden era for reggae and hip-hop music is that those genres were starting to make real headway in popular music, giving artists the unique opportunity to be the first at a lot of things. Being first will always hold value, and Snow, being the first white male to blow up in reggae, gave him his opportunity to be different. In art and entertainment, being special takes a lot of being different from your peers, with being first the ideal way to do so. Of course, there were other reggae artists before Snow, like Born Jamaicans, that were American-born black artists, but Snow, being a white reggae artist, even he admits gave him an unseen advantage to stand out in the competitive era. As time went on though, Snow's music lost that instant shock value of being different, and his albums after his debut declined in popularity, although his singles were still really big in places like Canada, Australia, and of course, Ireland. He knew he was different because of his skin and embraced it, while humbly showing respect to the Jamaican community and art form, and it gave him longevity. All in all, I take nothing away from Snow because by all accounts, he's said to be a genuine artist that never shies away from giving credit to Jamaican culture and its reggae creators. He was a student of the game that fell in love with it and used it to make a better life for himself. For these reasons, he was able to successfully appropriate the culture. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC StuntedGrowthMusic, and I'm out.